I was asked to redo my video on gaslighting because the audio was bad, which generally in that situation I would do what I always do, which is just delete the video and forget it ever existed and redo videos. I don't redo videos. I don't edit videos. Obviously I don't even look at them afterward or listen to them because that's awful. And I'm hypercritical, etc. But it was a request, and who knows, maybe this is information people need to know. Gaslighting. Gaslighting, it's... Okay, how the term started was there was this movie that was set before people had electricity in their houses, and people instead have gas lights in their house, so they would have, like propane gas, like candles types thing. And this guy decided he hated his wife and wanted to get rid of her, but he couldn't just get a divorce, so what he did was he wanted to have her declared crazy so that she would then be out of the house. So what he would do is he would, every time she would leave, he would either go turn up the gas light so it would be brighter or turn it down so that it would be darker, and she would be like, hey, what's going on with the light in this room? And he'd be like, hey, you're crazy, there's nothing going on with the light in this room. And basically that's where the term came from, but what it now means is somebody who does something and then denies they ever did it and says that you're crazy for ever saying that it happened. It happens, of course, with abusers who deny their abuse, past or present, that they might say, oh God, no, you're making that up, I never did that. Actually, really recently, I had an episode with my mother who is darling. But I also have a son, and I feel like, I'm really isolated, and it's not right for him to not know any of his relatives, even if they suck. And that's really common, I think, for avoidant people that have children, that they, even if they can interact with their parents, unless it's like a true, there is nothing redeemable about these people, which that's half the problem. I mean, if it was somebody that was just 100% they're evil, then, you wouldn't have such a reaction, an avoidant reaction to them, because, they make sense half the time, so you think they must make sense all the time when they're saying awful things about you and doing awful things and blaming you for it. You think that's right and accurate, because you can see that they're, they got it together in other aspects of their life, so, they must have it together when they're describing you. That's the abuse part. So what happened was that my son said something to me that she didn't like, which is, of course, tremendously ironic. And my mother said to him, well, I mean, she, of course, denies that she was ever physically anything to do with me. Wow, that's bad. Lots of things going on in the background in this video, sorry. Anyway, so she denied she ever did anything to me in any way, shape, or form. And my son said something, and he said, if your mother ever said that to me, I would have belted her so hard she would have ended up the other side of the room. And then it sort of got through to her, because see, there's two kinds of gaslighting. There's the malicious, active gaslighting with somebody who's really actively trying to do something to set you up. And then there's the other kind where somebody has done something so awful that they try to sort of purge it from their brain. They can't accept that they did that, so they sort of pretend it never happened. And that's kind of what happened with my mother, is that she truly has forgotten how she has been. She blames my father. My father was also like a physical guy. But she truly does not believe that she ever did anything like that, and that any time that she did something, it was always a joke, etc. But she said this thing to my son, and then a look of horror came over her face, and then she turned around and looked at me and said, "I hope you find a way to deal with this that's not the way you learned." Which was like earth-shattering. And of course then she went back to her normal ways, and yeah, overcompensated for being slightly nice, and freaked my son out in the process, and yeah. So we're having a break from my mother. But anyway, so that's one kind of gaslighting, where they truly insist that their version of events is correct, even though it's just factually wrong. And they don't, try to say, okay, well, I think you misremember. I mean, they're just like throwing you under the bus and telling you that you don't know anything and there's something seriously wrong with you for thinking that. Those are signs of gaslighting. And that's like real life gaslighting. And then there's online gaslighting, which is insidious. And it comes in the form of deleting stuff. I mean, okay, obviously you have to maintain all of your online persona. I mean, excuse me, have you seen how many videos I delete? I go through pretty regularly and call, and every once in a while I'm like, that wasn't so bad, and I add it back in, but usually I'm just putting videos up and then taking them right back down again. I think there's only about a third of them that are open. So, I mean, I'm not saying that every delete is a gaslight. What I'm saying is people will say something snarky or obnoxious or hateful or directed towards somebody, say something to wind somebody up on purpose, and then go back in and either delete or edit what they had said, so that the second person who reacted, they wait until the second person, their target, reacts, and then they delete everything, and they're like, geez, this guy's a nut. Do you see what he said? He's completely crazy. Why is he talking to me like that? And it's done, it's like a divide and conquer thing, where people are either jealous that somebody is getting too much attention, or they're upset because they personally are not getting enough attention from that person, or they're just malicious. But it's usually some sort of attention grab, and it will drive you completely nuts. I'm telling you, having had quite a few attempts on it. And of course, the other way to know that you've for sure been maliciously gaslit by somebody online is when you say, oh my God, you said this. And they go, oh yeah, show me the proof. Where's the proof? Well, the proof is it was deleted because this was your plan from the start. If you run into somebody that's doing some type of thing like that, online especially, cut them loose. They're gone. I mean, again, there's a difference between somebody who, especially when you're avoidant, said something and it's too personal, they regret what they've said, and they get rid of it. Okay. Or, I mean, I misspelled something and I'm mortified that somebody saw that I misspelled something. There's a difference between, it's then You know, that can happen. You can just delete something, and like I deleted the first gaslighting video. um, and you know, that's not that big a deal. But if somebody is then seeming to taunt you, seeming to like if you go into a thread and there's this whole back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then there's delete, 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 so it looks like somebody is, you know, talking to themselves and being crazy or just saying mean, rotten things out of the blue, cut those people out of your life. You don't want those. You don't want to be interacting with those kind of people, because it's never going to end, and they will have gotten their attention hit. First, they got the reaction out of you, then they got you saying, hey, what happened? I said this thing and you said this thing and now it's not there. Another attention hit. Don't waste your life on that type of thing. Avoidant people only have so much attention, sort of energy ability that they can give. And yeah, just no, don't do that. In real life, it's harder, because, you know, yes, you can get online, you can get some very close friendships with people, etc. But they usually, you can't hide this kind of stuff. If you're going to do this type of stuff, you're going to do it real quick. So yes, you know, you might be in such a deep relationship that you feel like you can't cut somebody online, but usually it's yeah, and of course avoidance, it's really hard to cut. You got to have a really, really good reason to cut somebody out of your life if you're avoidant. But that's a really good reason. But in real life, I mean, the thing is that it's kind of pointless to stick to your guns, because again, the person who is coming up with this scheme of trying to make you seem crazy for talking about something. I mean, the point of it is they're ashamed and embarrassed and horrified by something that they did, and they don't want anybody else to know about it. And they will attack harder and harder and harder. They'll start pulling your skeletons out of your closet. They will do anything they can do to shut you up. So shut up. If there's somebody who's a witness, stop the conversation. Tell the witness afterward, privately, what happened, and move on. But if somebody is gaslighting you, you can't change their mind. You can't bring them around. Maybe get them really drunk, then they'll finally admit it. But of course, then they'll say, oh, I was drunk and I didn't say what I was saying and blah, 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 blah. I don't remember what I said. You know, pick your battles. And that's a battle that you cannot win, so don't try. Again, gaslighting is abuse. If you've got somebody who's doing that, don't second guess your life and your experience, because, you know, especially if you've got somebody that's a history of abuse and a history of targeting you, you have to, it's so awful to say let it go. Don't let go what the original experience is, but let go that moment. That person is just there out to get you. And you can't win. So it's, you know, retreat in order to protect yourself. You can't win. So don't. Just get away from these people and know that you're not crazy. If somebody does that to you, that is them doing self-protective type stuff. That is not you being crazy. And your memory is correct and intact. And don't listen to any crap about you got it wrong. No, they have an agenda that they are trying to fulfill, and that's all they care about. They don't care about the truth. Your truth is the truth. And just remember that.